Talk a little Des Bryant in a minute, but first, Ole Miss at Kentucky, Brian Tyree throwing down the monster dunk. All's good for like a split second until...
Number 32 ain't having this.
Nope.
I can't believe you're siding with 32.
I'm not siding. You got the technical.
He should be ejected.
Oh,
you cannot do that.
It's a little bit of a flop. It's not. I mean, it was just a little forearm. You're getting soft in your old
I'm
age,
just
Bruce.
saying, you got dunked on. Deal with it.
Check out Kyrie's moves right here. Celtics big win over Charlotte, but how about that?
Kyrie was spectacular last night. 34 points through 3 quarters. Why didn't he score any in the fourth? Because they were up so much they didn't need him. He was great last night.
People always think of his handle as far as his move, and even finishing at the rim, but he's got great moves all over the court.
Absolutely.
And you just saw it there.
Finally, James Harden, just crashing the internet with the move of the night in the NBA. Up and in after he sat and stared down Wesley Johnson, who was sitting down. Look at that. That's not slow motion, by the way.
If this happens at the park, everyone runs on the court, the game's called.
Yeah, he doesn't even get to take the shot, right?
No.
And Wes Johnson and his family have to move.
You got to move
At
towns,
least one zip code.
change names.
Yeah.
He just
Can't go back to
snatched
the
his
court.
ankles.
That was the best part, though. Harden just kind of looking at him, admiring his work.
Man, poor Wes Johnson.
Trying to figure out what he was doing.
Hey, Dusty,
here
go
we
change
go.
his
Oh,
Wikipedia page.
No, did you see that?
It's already been changed.
It's already been changed.
Good job, Dusty.
Time now for In or Out. Des Bryant's contract situation is ongoing concern for the Cowboys. Head coach Jason Garrett said yesterday that the Cowboys, quote, haven't had any specific personnel meetings about any of their players. Chris, you in or out on Cowboys bringing back Des Bryant?
I'm in on this. I don't think there are any great options if you get rid of Dez and who you bringing in to be a #1 receiver. Give him one more year to see if he can maybe not get back to what he used to be, but certainly have a much better year than he did last year. I'm in on Dez.
As critical as I've been of Dez, and I think it's been deserved criticism, I'm in on the Cowboys bringing him back. If you cut Des Bryant, the best free agent wide receiver available becomes Des Bryant. Even if you keep Des Bryant, you probably still need to draft a wide receiver in the first round. Like, the Cowboys do not have enough skilled players on the outside, speed on the outside, and pass catchers, be it tight end or wide receivers. You got to keep Des.
But you admit they need more from Des next year.
Of course.
He can't just come out and be the same Des. To the Steelers now. Pittsburgh seems to think they can get a long-term deal for Le'Veon Bell done soon. General Manager Kevin Colbert says he's optimistic they can find common ground. Nick, you in or out on the Steelers signing Le'Veon to a long-term deal?
From a pure team perspective, I'm out because of the position, the amount of workload he's had last year, his history in the substance abuse program and being one failed drug test away from potentially a year-long suspension, and the history of guys at that position with 400 touches. What happens to them in the following seasons? I think Bell is a tremendous football player, but I don't know. I think I'd rather go year to year with him. They can franchise him one more time relatively cheaply, so I'm out on the long-term deal.
Yeah, I'm with you. For Le'Veon's purposes, I'd love to see him get his long-term security at big money. But from a Steelers perspective, I have to be out on this. And I'll say this for Le'Veon. Everybody feels like, oh, poor Le'Veon, he's not getting his money. He's going to get $14.5 million if he's franchised. The highest paid receiver in the league makes like $8.5 million.
Highest paid running back.
I'm sorry, running back in the league, $8.5 million. So don't act like that's almost 2 seasons at roughly the highest paid, money at that position. So it's not like he's playing for pennies if they franchise him.
All right, let's move on to the NFL. John Elway said he was not done swinging and missing in search for a quarterback. Let's all remember what position he played. Last year, they were led by Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, and Brock Osweiler. Chris, you in or out on trusting John Elway to get the Broncos?
In John Elway, I trust. I am in. Look, 7 years there, 5 playoff appearances after the team not making the playoffs for 5 years before he got there. Obviously a Super Bowl victory. I know he hasn't had the greatest luck with the quarterbacks, but go out and get a Kirk Cousins or a Teddy Bridgewater. You got great receivers. You got a great defense. John Elway built all that. I'm in on him.
I am so out on this. John, listen, the only way the Broncos are going to get the quarterback position right in the draft is if Vance Joseph and the rest of the power structure of that team goes to John and says, John, who should we take? And as soon as he says, whomever he says, I like Josh Allen, cross him off your list. All right, and then just do a process of elimination. Find out which of the top 5 quarterbacks Elway likes the least. Go with him. It's the old Bizarro Costanza, Jenna.
Totally in on it.
Right. So no.
It's Bizarro, Jerry.
Sorry.
I
Whatever.
didn't mean to correct you.
You are hating on one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
And one of the most incompetent quarterback pickers of the modern era.
A lot of people have made mistakes at quarterback.
I'm out.
Simeon wasn't even a mistake.
He tried to give Osweiler $70 million. I'm out.
What about Houston? They loved him, and they drafted Deshaun. So that shows you can.
We saw this a little bit earlier. James Harden had the move of the year, crossing over Wesley Johnson, snatching those ankles last night. One of the best ankle breakers we've ever seen, really. Chris, you in or out on Wes Johnson retiring after James Harden's crossover?
I think some type of witness protection program where he comes back as a different person or something. I don't want him to retire. Get your money, have fun, but that's tough to come back from.
So you're out.
But I will say I'm out. You know, what he's got to do is next time they play the Rockets, he's got to size up Harden and get him back.
Okay, well, he's not going to be able to do
it. Okay, how about dunking on him? At least dunk on him.
All right, listen.
Just hit a jumper in his
maybe
face.
Pull a Zaza, do some dirty something. Get your soul back. You said he
Zaza
snatched his ankles. I think he snatched his soul. I'm in on this. Not only am I in on him retiring, Wes Johnson went to Iowa State and then Syracuse. I've always claimed him as a Syracuse alum. Not no more. That is Iowa State's Wes Johnson. That is not Syracuse's Wes Johnson. That is Iowa State's Wes Johnson crumbling on the floor and turning to dust. I'm in, Wes. It's over for you, bro.
Circle March 15th on your calendar. They play again. If Wes decides to come back from the dead and play, we'll see if he can do something.
At least if he posts him up, it's like a 12-foot turnaround on him. Would that do it?
Hey, coming up, are the New York Giants making a big mistake sticking with Eli Manning? That is next. First things first.